I mean, all he has to do is go at the sitting president like he often does, and he remains in the national conversation. He's not outside of this basketball club the way that Dan is positioning it. He is still the person most associated with that franchise, and that'll be that way probably unless they get a player more famous than Luka.
But Mike, that's the optics of it, though, man. You are not allowing for these people who have these giant amount of money to have blind spots about where their personality gets distorted. Mark Cuban, having power over that club, made it at one time that he was running on the court and getting more fines than anyone because he kept going after officiating and thought he lost a title in Miami because the refs cheated for Dwayne Wade. No, but I'm saying Mark Cuban cares about this like he's never cared about anything, and now he no longer owns the team and was reminded when they traded Luka on him. So David can tell you with expertise what it's like to be in the club or outside the club. David's outside the club right now, and it hurts.
Yeah, and David had an owner that chose to be outside the club. This is a decision that Mark Cuban made, and he's got enough wealth to say, like, well, I can just buy another team. Now, I know that's been tricky in previous years for Mark Cuban. Sometimes baseball didn't want him in there, but Mark Cuban has enough money that he didn't have to sell, and he can get another team.
Mike, do you understand? Like, you just glossed over. I know it can be tricky. Baseball said no to Mark Cuban. How much no do you think Mark Cuban's been getting? Hey, you want my money?
Right. And David Sampson and Jeffrey Loria sold the team way overvalued.
They're different.
If Mark Cuban comes back to the table,
they're different clubs. Why do you think the rich guys all want to own the sports teams? They're different clubs.
David has said routinely that they want the franchise values going up.
Mark Cuban, I am positive, Mark Cuban hurts in a way that he didn't expect when Luka gets traded. Just hurts in a way that you'd assume he couldn't be hurt. And I'm telling you, David, who's a robot, David, you could speak to the human parts of when you get kicked out of the club.
I'll tell you right now, after 18 years, my adjustment to not being in the club, it was tough. And it's been 8 years, but it still comes up where I think about relevancy and I think about I'm not in the room where it happens anymore. And believe me, Mark Cuban thinks that way. Adam Silver did not pick up the phone to call Mark to say, what are you tweeting for? Mark Cuban can't get fined by Adam Silver if he tried. And that is a true fact, Mike. Now, of course, he's still rich. You may say he's still important, but there's a different feeling when you're in that room. When you're in the room, which I was in, where you say out loud, we will not vote for Mark Cuban to buy a baseball team, you feel important. Of course, it's not real, but man, it feels real. And then when it's gone, it's emotionally devastating. You feel like you've lost not just your identity, but your value to yourself, to your family, to people around on the street. I mean, God damn, when I'm recognized for being the first voted out on Survivor, you think that's what I want? I wanted to be the president of a team or the owner of a team. That's identity, and Mark Cuban doesn't have it. He prayed. He's like, I'm still the head of basketball operations. No, you're not. You're nothing. You sold the team. It's done.
Ouch. Did you guys voted against Mark Cuban? Did you just
It didn't even come to a vote. He couldn't get 23 votes. Mike, you say that he couldn't get a baseball team. I'll tell you exactly what happened. He wanted to buy a baseball team and was told, you will not get approved. It is not going to happen. You do not have the votes because you are the way you are in the room and you cannot be controlled. And we don't want any part of that.
How would you have voted? You guys voted no?
There was no vote.
Would you have voted no?
I would have voted with the commissioner